I am instead greeted with something a bit more concerning.
Are you alright? Should we be concerned? Maybe we should bring you to the hospital now.
I just feel a little queasy, that's all.
I have money to buy the best medicines and doctors if need be. She'll get better. She has to. And once we get this little bump on the road, I can stop worrying. All will be right with the world. Unfortunately, my time alone is cut short though.
I think those flowers look beautiful, my lord.
What? Oh my god, that's the girl! Yo, wait. So everyone is seeing this girl as like the creepy, like messed up one, but Luke only sees her as like how she actually looked?
Look at me, talking to the master of the house without even asking for permission. What will the others think?
I am not going anywhere with you. Now step back and walk away before I have you forcibly removed.
Hey internet, it's Jessica and welcome back to The Letter. So, Luke kind of met the girl, or at least the maid of the house, or the servant. I don't know, the girl who was in love with Lady Charlotte's fiance, and it kind of took a weird turn because all of a sudden she just went demon all of a sudden. So, I don't know exactly how she's gonna interact with Luke, considering if there is two spirits, Charlotte and this girl are both in love with the fiance, and he looks like Luke. So I don't know how they're going to interact with Luke, if they're going to be like really nasty towards him, or they're going to be kind and then kind of do a jump scare once in a while, but we'll see. It must have been a sight to see the usual composed and reserved Luke Wright bursting through the doors. Not that I have much of an audience unless there are other staff members who've chosen to disregard my orders for them to leave. Really, I still doubt that woman is one of the staff. Mustering up the courage, I look back through the window to see if she followed me. She's gone. But I don't take any chances, putting as much distance as I can between us. Oh god, it's Johann's. Stopping to catch my breath. Johann's sudden appearance nearly makes me jump out of my skin.
Don't fucking do that!
I know, Sam.
You son of a bitch! If I had a gun, I would have shot you!
If I had any love left for my mutter, I'd take offense. But what happened to you? You look like you've seen a ghost.
Oh, if it only were such a delusion. But I can still feel her sharp nails digging into my back. The feeling was too real for it to have been a ghost.
There was his housekeeper. I think, I'm not sure. In the gardens. She was acting odd and I thought to remove myself from the scene.
Oh, strange. I made sure the rest of the stuff had left and that the house was empty, as you requested. Describe this woman.
She had pale skin, dark eyes, and long dark hair. She wouldn't give me her name.
I have expected a name from him. The man knows the staff better than I do, after all. But instead of an answer, he grows quiet. I'm pretty sure that is not a good thing. I'm even more worried when the other man looks me over. I have to protest when he pulls back my collar.
What in the bloody hell are you doing?
Checking for marks. Needle marks, to be exact. We don't have anyone like that among the staff. You could have easily been kidnapped.
A cold feeling settles itself over me at the thought. I've long established my power over the more unsavory characters in Luxborn, or I thought I did, and the most harm I thought that could come to me would be slander, robbery, or incarceration, kidnapping, an attempt to my own person? I've forgotten that I'm human, as mortal, as any other man despite my wealth and status.
Fortunately, you look unharmed. But I advise that you be accompanied by trusted individuals at all times from now on. If not me, an assigned guard.
That explains why all of a sudden he had security all over the house when Ashton showed up. It's because of this lady.
I'll be informing them of this soon, as they return from their day in the city.
Already, I can feel the energy leave me at the realization of what could have been.
All right. Yes, I suppose we should do that. But I think I'd like to call it a day. I should be safe in bed, yes?
I'll stand guard outside for the night. The madam has been inquiring about you, by the way.
A guard. Any other threat and he alone would be enough to make me feel safe. But whatever I saw, would one man be enough?
That's all well and good, but there's something else. That housekeeper, she...
Luke, you're home.
Hi,
I was
Hannah.
worried about you.
The grin I can muster is probably lopsided, forced as I snap my mouth shut to keep myself babbling about witches and monsters, because here I am standing in the hallway, dirt on my pant leg and sweat dotting my forehead. A far cry from my usually pristine condition. I don't want to worry Hannah. A cough.
What happened to you? You look like you wrestled in the mud and moss, dear. And those flowers. Were you gardening?
Yes, I was wrestling at the same time gardening.
What? Oh, these. I didn't realize I still had them.
I really did not, but there they are, still in my grip, the daffodils I had taken from the garden. Even in the wake of my flight, I had refused to let go of them whenever I was conscious or not.
Shall I put them in a vase?
Give them to Hannah. No, you know what? Hey, Hannah, you take the flowers. I mean, like, you know, nice gesture. Because, like, honestly, yeah, I kind of do want Hannah to be with Marianne and stuff like that. But in reality, you know, Hannah and Marianne, they don't have, like, a real relationship or anything like that. Marianne just likes Hannah because she looks like, Lorraine. And then adding to the fact that, yeah, we can make her go with Zachary. But again, Zachary doesn't have a strong enough connection with them. I think they're cute together, too. Since we're playing as Luke now, we're in his perspective, I would like to think that, like, maybe I can have Luke kind of, like, not be an asshole, you know, to his wife. So, even though he's probably gonna get arrested in the end or something like that, I just want him to, like, give a good impression towards Hannah, because she's still carrying their kid, right? I don't know. I just want to be nice to Hannah. Perhaps I did it to save face, or maybe a small part of me really had planned to take them for her. But like a young man presenting flowers to a Valentine's, I awkwardly thrust the bouquet in Hannah's direction.
They're for you.
These are lovely, thank you. But aren't these...
The surprise is to be expected, and the open-ended question needs little interpretation. I never given her daffodils before, especially not from the ones I considered mine.
They're for you. Don't make me think that kneeling around in the dirt was a waste of my time.
It's not. It's not. Just... Are you feeling alright? I hope whatever I have isn't contagious.
See, yeah, I mean, I assume the flowers are for his mother, right? That's what he was implying when he was in the garden. But I just wonder why he's not like, oh, this is not your thing. Let me see the relationship. It went up with Hannah, so that's good. But, I don't know.
I'm not sick, Hannah. I just got them for you. I thought they'd make you feel better. Brighten up the room. I don't need my intentions questioned. The thank you was enough.
See, you know, Luke, you could have just shut the hell up right there. He was doing a nice thing, and all of a sudden he's like, why are you questioning me?
And I didn't mean to insinuate anything. But you're right. Thank you, truly, for these.
She takes them from me then, carefully not to crush them the stems. There is still uncertainty on her face which endears and annoys me in equal parts. But she does look lovely with them, the very picture of something that should have been immortalized in paint. They should be for Mother, but it doesn't matter anymore.
Why don't we turn in for the night? You must be exhausted with all that gardening.
What does a dead woman care for flowers? Okay, Monday, October 31st. I didn't get any sleep, not a single wink. I was so busy jumping at every shadow and worrying about waking with a knife in my chest. Not waking at all. Even when Hannah wakes, in spite of a mild fever, and goes downstairs for breakfast, I stay in bed. Thoughts of poisoned food running in my head. So he's becoming more paranoid. The rain has started sometime during the night. It doesn't help the mood. Or maybe it just helps a little? The strange sunny weather has been nice and all, but for it to return as it should be feels like a good sign of things to come. Perhaps things will settle back to normal and the crazy drama that has gone on lately will die down. I would hate to be caught unawares in this rain, and with how it looks outside, it seems that the weather is making up for the sunny days it's given us with a good old-fashioned downpour. The rhythmic pitter-patter of the rain fills the early morning with a steady beat. Thank goodness I don't have to be anywhere in a hurry today. I would hate to be caught unaware in this rain. With how it looks outside, it seems to be the weather is making up for... Oh, it's repeating. Oh, okay. It does let up within a quarter of an hour. However, a day beginning with a cloud burst like this, locals usually take it as an immediate sign. Luxburn's abysmal weather is back, likely for good. I hope they did the damn good of fixing the place because I'd rather not have to deal with the leak. I don't like the idea that the realty did a horrid patch job with the place. Hannah technically paid millions for this place. It better live up to the price the realty company sold it for. Roof problems aside, she is going to be Work problems aside, she's going to be definite downer about this as well. She hates the rain. Then again, who actually does? What sane person would like it when 9 out of 10 days consisted of nothing but dark, drab, and gray skies and piss water pouring from the heavens? And she was just starting to enjoy the sunlight. I will have to get up and eventually, that is a given, but I'm not too keen on seeing or talking to Hana before she leaves for the hospital. Or eventually, in a few days' time, this bloody house. Kylie won't like it if she comes here, only to find me in a bad mood. Few would dare rouse me from bed. Being able to keep their jobs is incentive enough. I trust they realize that now is not a good time to force me into anything. Maybe I can just get an hour or two of sleep before Sarah's? What? Drops off the brat off to the mansion steps. If only. But as always, somebody has to be a buzzkill.
Are you really going to stay in bed all day?
What do you want?
You must have been really rattled by what happened yesterday. If you need to talk about it, I am quite qualified in that regard.
Because he used to be a doctor.
And you aren't even the slightest bit bothered. Truly. Not even the slightest bit worried?
I was worried. But I realized that it's not my life in danger, is it?
What a dick.
My worrying will not help matters. Neither will yours.
Loath as I am to admit it, he's right. Still, it's more frustrating when he doesn't give me the time to concede his point.
I know you two aren't getting along.
Nosy bugger.
But you should at least see the madam off before we leave. Think of her as a business associate if you must. It would not do to part on bad terms.
It's far too early to deal with your nosiness.
That's none of his business, none of it. If he remembers this place, he'll drop it. I don't want to talk to Hana, not now, when I'm so high-strung and paranoid. This whole thing is a bloody mess with everything going off at once. I'm afraid that, with our troubles, I will misinterpret anything she might say or do. That just make the whole thing worse.
Are there any updates about the woman?
Being in the dark has me on edge. Information, any at all, may very well help me in calming down.
I've already briefed security about her, and more from the agency will be arriving tonight. But they haven't seen anyone fitting the description.
So you have nothing then? Fat lot of use you guys are. What do I even pay you for? Do me a favor. There's the door. Don't let it hit you on your way out.
Such an ass.
Well, there is something. It's about McCulloch.
Can anyone blame me if I show the tiniest bit of interest? She's still not done with the house, and she is a nice enough woman. Plans to go back to sleep are
I
gone.
called her secretary about taking the day off. He hasn't heard from her over the weekend.
Okay, so then he really didn't know Marianne was in the basement dungeon thing. Okay, so he doesn't know about that.
She's probably passed out after enjoying a pint or 2 or 10 in a bar somewhere. She's an adult. It was the weekend. She's allowed to disappear and not think about work. Fuck. I wish I was passed out after a night of drinking. He does know that mobiles are a thing.
That's all well and good, but she's not answering her mobile either. Mr. Parker will be filling a missing persons case with the police if she doesn't turn up today.
Certainly someone must know where she is. Tabs are kept, without fail, on people who come to work with me. Background checks and consultant surveillance until they finish their contracts with the rights. I would say that it's all a bit over the top. But I can't be too safe. Too many want me dead.
What about one of ours? Has anyone seen her? She's pretty hard to miss with how tall the woman is.
Yeah, that's true.
The last anyone has seen of her was here, the morning of the party. Your housewarming party.
That isn't good news.
It wouldn't do for the police to hear of this and to suspect.
It's a little important that I can easily prove my innocence. It is all a matter of principle. Because even the accusation of misdemeanor should not stain my reputation, although maybe it is a bit too late to hope for a squeaky clean one. Besides, it's such a hassle to have the police poking about the house looking for a body that doesn't exist.
Now, if we're done here, I'd like to go back to sleep and...
Oh, it's Kylie! Well, there goes any plans for grabbing some shut-eye. Rolling over on my stomach, I can only scream into the pillow.
Of course. Johans, distract her.
Oh, look, it's time for me to go. Have fun with your little play date. So long, farewell, and auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye.
She's like, see ya. I'm not dealing with that.
No, Johans, don't you turn away from me. Keep her busy for an hour. Come on.
I have to press my face against the pillow once more to suppress a groan. You just can't get loyal help anymore.
Hello there, little Fraulein. Your uncle is just upstairs and will be down in a moment. He is super excited to have you today. I hope you're well rested and ready to play a lot.
That bastard. I'll be down in a sec, Munchkin. Let me just...
Changes a fresh shirt, brush my teeth, fix my hair, bemoan my very existence, which I wish anywhere else in the world right now. Don't get me wrong, Kylie is a great kid, wonderful, better than most brats her age. But handling a tyke is the last thing I want on my own agenda right now with this whole Hannah business. Fortunately, I am very versed on how the world works. I've long learned that the show must go on no matter what hurdles come in my way. So I set to preparing for the day. Running a comb through my hair, just as divine and simple, makes me feel more human. Bad hair is disgusting, though it isn't as bad now as it was when I was a child. With how expensive a trip to the barber was, I often had to grow it until my mother had the time to cut it for me. The curls and tangles were simply horrid. Why, I was even mistaken as a little girl because of that. It certainly doesn't help when I was named Lucille. Oh yeah, because Lucille can be considered a female name, I guess. A freshly pressed shirt is enough to chase away the last night's signs of sleepiness. The feel of crisp and clean clothes on my hands is a clear marker to start the day. Smoothing down my suit and my hair with a sigh, I steel myself for the horrors. The horrors to come with taking care of a child.
Good morning to you, Luke.
Hey! Speak of the devil, and she shall appear. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, Kylie grins up at me as soon as I open the bedroom door. She swings the backpack she's clutching, hitting my leg to show impatience and looking entirely unapologetic for it.
Did you just wake up? Don't tell me you forgot. It's our play date today.
I doubt I'd forget. Kylie's visits are frequent enough thing that they've found their way into my schedule. There's supposed to be visits to her godmother, but we can't pick who a child gets along with. So long as I'm busy, her father can drop her off for the day. Which is all well and good for me if it makes Sarez, I don't know, focus on work I've given him. Besides, she's a bright child, tolerable. Kid's got a good head on her shoulders and can get pretty much mature at her age at times. Of course, they have to thank me for that. Her parents can take a partial credit, but Hannah and I have been there for this kid since she was just a small babe. Why, I can still remember the first time I saw her. It was during her baptism. The only reason I was there was to accompany Hannah, who was to be named godmother. She was such a tiny thing, not even a year old, and swaddled in her mother's arms and white cloth. It was the first time I really saw an infant close up, close enough to hold one at least. It had been terrifying to be given a little child to carry after a whole water ceremony. I'd never done so before that, to hold a tiny life in my arms. I could have just dropped her on her head and this little tyke before me would have stopped existing then and there. But the child just smiled at me, babbling nonsensical words as children do, and clinging to me even as I tried to hand her off to Hannah. She has thought it hilarious and adorable. My suit has been a mess, and I was nearly an anxious wreck by the time I handed her back to her mother. Yet it was pleasant too.
Of course I didn't, you little rugrat. I just had to take care of something before you arrived.
So no matter how much of an ass Luke really is, he actually really does love Kylie a lot. I mean, we saw that with, like, Rebecca's chapter, but it's even more evident if he's just like, I really like this kid, you know? She's not that bad.
Really? Well, I guess that's fine. As long as he's only for work like last time.
Really? Now why don't we go back down and have breakfast in the parlor?
I already ate at home. Papa made one of his tortilla de patatas. He wouldn't let me leave until I finished every bite.
So Rez's infamous tortilla de papatas, I don't know. Those things are a hazard. You can probably use one to bludgeon someone into submission with how huge they are. It's a miracle Kylie can still be so energetic. I had trouble staying awake the first time I had one. Speaking of staying awake...
I need some coffee in me at the very least. But if you'd like, you can jump straight to dessert.
Yes! Dessert, please!
It's easy enough to manage Kylie with the promise of sweets, thankfully. The hard part is managing her before she gets the sweets, because I nearly have a heart attack when the kid races down the stairs. Just the thought of her slipping and breaking her neck is enough to make me rush down after her. See, he really does care. Like, if he wasn't like a mob boss, like, criminal, he could be a good dad.
Oh, slow down. The food isn't going anywhere.
The food is going somewhere. In my tummy.
Jesus fucking Christ. Children.
Well, with a shake of my head, I usher Kylie towards the parlor and order a maid to bring food for us. Whatever breakfast there is, along with a cup of coffee for me and an ice cream for Kylie. But I can't leave the kid alone for too long unless I want her to turn to the other room into a slaughter ground. True to my expectations, I have only left Kylie alone for a few minutes, but she already made herself comfortable. The stuff from her backpack has been left scattered across the room, from coloring books to crayons and toys. That's an interesting looking doll. Can I just say, I don't like those like porcelain dolls. Even as a kid, they always creep me out. Am I the only one who thought that? Like, they're so weird looking. She's well equipped to amuse herself with no trouble, though I can certainly breathe a little easier if she won't bring her doll along every time she visits. Narcia, or Sia, is a little creepy little bugger. I agree! At least Luke agrees with me. Doesn't help when Kylie left her during one. Finding the thing at the bottom of the stairs staring up at me at 3 o'clock in the fucking morning is a memory that won't be leaving me anytime soon. Even now, it stares at me from where it's seated. I'm wholly tempted to just throw the thing into the fireplace and banish it from whence it came. I can buy her a prettier doll, a better toy. I will break it and find a way to get rid of it, if it wasn't for Hannah, and if only Kylie isn't so attached to it. The thing of some antique doll she found in Brat's 6th birthday, one of a kind. Antique doll is probably haunted! My darling Hannah loves her so. And Kylie does try to be a good goddaughter, but she just can't keep her interests long with the wife. It's not something that Hannah does wrong on her part. She does try so very hard. It's just that she doesn't quite know how to really handle children. Interesting! That's really interesting, because Hannah's the one who's like, I really want children, I really want to have a family with Luke. And Luke is just like, well, she doesn't want to have kids, like how to handle kids. That's really interesting. She's never been around children when she was young, surrounded by protective adults who cater to her every whim and worry for her safety every minute. When she isn't able to keep up with Kylie, her first instinct is to be strict. Impose rules on the child, treat her as if she's made of spun glass, like every moment might break her. I, at least, have some idea of being around street kids. I know the games they play and how they think. I know that scrapped and skinned knees are all part of childhood, even with how I grew up. I had the time to be a child and not some sheltered heiress. Oh, right, because that is true though, right? Hannah never really had a normal childhood because she was so like, you gotta be a proper lady and all this crap like that. And Luke, yeah, he was like a normal kid. Even though he grew up poor and whatever, he was still a normal kid. With Kylie, as behaved as she can be with her toys and her books and art, she has to use up all her energy somehow. To run around the playground and make her mess in the mud, or even just fake wrestle for a short while. Let her be a child when she wants, I'll say. If it becomes too much, just bribe her with sweets, or ship her back to her papa. No problem solved. Unfortunately, Hannah isn't quite up for those sort of things most of the time, thinking it'll spoil the child. It turns the whole playdate awkward every time. Taking the last seat left, I plucked one of the coloring books from the table to see it filled with dinosaurs. Not exactly what I expect to see a little girl, but it doesn't hurt anyone. If she wants to play with dolls and cars, or dolls with their cars, what do I care? She once put a doll's tutus on model cars even.
Oh, this is a new one. The last one you had was filled with horses, wasn't it?
Those were ponies, Tio. They're much cuter than horses. But we went to a dinosaur zoo, and it was awesome! Dinosaurs are my favorite.
Like she tried to say
I
it.
have no idea what that is, but it must be something. I'm only familiar with the T-Rex myself.
Yeah, they found, fossils of its claws. They're really long. They think the whole theory might be a bazillion meters tall, even bigger than a T-Rex. Cisa says it'll be big enough to eat all my classmates.
She only laughs and I scratch up my nose and grimace.
Takako says you're making a really funny face.
Taka who?
Takako, a friend I made.
Okay, maybe that's the name of the girl, right? Because I remember when Luke was talking to her in the garden, she had a pendant and it looked like it had kanji on it, which is like, you know, the Japanese language or the characters for their alphabet. So it looked like it was kanji, and I'm thinking that Takako is that girl. She is Japanese. Which is very concerning. Like I said before, children have the tendencies or more, you know, vulnerable towards spirits and stuff like that. If you look at any kind of story, children are the ones who are speaking to the ghosts, like, most of the time. They see them, because they see them as, like, friendly and innocent, right? Children are not really easily afraid in that regard, especially if the spirit is friendly with them. So, I'm assuming that's the girl. We're just gonna take that assumption going off of Rebecca's chapter 2. I have to stop and look around, expecting one of the help to be there. The child does have a way of befriending just about anyone as long as she puts her mind to it. Yet, the two of us are completely alone. Thankfully, she only finds my disturbed look as another funny grown-up expression. That must be a lot more problematic than whether she'll play with dolls or cars though. Both of the thoughts of Sisa giving Kylie ideas, and one said idea is being massacred by a dinosaur. Something I probably need to bring up with her father aside from work. But beyond murderous dinosaurs, creepy dolls, and imaginary friends, I have no trouble with Kylie. She's as energetic and precious as any tyke her age can be. She's an angel if she can get comfy and settled in after getting her sweets. We tuck into our waffles and soon as the food is brought in. Our waffles because she wanted her own plate to go with the ice cream as soon as she saw mine. A fresh plate of berries is brought in as well, which goes great with the rest of the feast, as Kylie puts it. And if I indulge in the sweetness and have a cup of black coffee to pair off with. With our bellies full, Kylie grows content with just scribbling a scrap of paper and calmly chatting about her week. She talks about her older brother Roman and their parents, how they plan to go to the Bloxland in Berkshire for the winter holidays. She mentioned Miss Pink, Rebecca, which I listened with half an ear. Our initial meeting had been a mess, but I can't quite find myself to listen to stories about her teacher wholeheartedly. The phantom string in my hands is still itching. She talks of a sad man in the park. Oh, that's Zachary! And her new friend who likes to play hide and seek when she's not stiffing in the loo. When finally she finds nothing new to talk about, she goes back to her drawings. That'll change as soon as her stomach settles, of course, the calm before the storm. Because behave as she is right now, I can feel the curiosity just radiating off of her. There's a restlessness buzzing under her skin and question at the tip of her tongue, as they often are with children her age. But for now, I can take this piece with no complaint for however long it stays. I have fun with crayons as well, at the child's insistence, even if I can't really draw. With Kylie using the black crayon, that leaves me with the blue one. I absentmindedly start to draw Puppy to the best of my abilities. It's as I attempt to give a doodle dogs another eye that Kylie breaks her silence.
Yo? Where did Tia go? I saw them leave when I got here. Tia didn't look so good.
I've been expecting a lot of different questions. The kid always has a whole bunch of them ready for me, but I can only sigh when she posts this particular one.
She's just going to the doctor's for a checkup.
As kids go, there are follow-up
And
questions.
you didn't go with her?
Well, you were going to be here, sweetie, so I had to stay behind.
So she's all alone? At the hospital?
Oh, no, of course not. Tia has her Hans and her maid and a guard. She's got plenty of company.
Yeah, but you're not with her.
Yeah, you're the husband. You're supposed to go there. If I didn't know better, I'd say the kid is trying to make me feel guilty, though I don't know if it's a bitter taste in my mouth is that or something entirely else. I really don't have time to process what the emotion is as the brat opens her mouth again.
You should have gone with her to the hospital. Hospitals are scary, you know.
Exactly why I didn't go. I don't like hospitals, Kylie. That's all there is to it.
So you're not angry at Tia?
Why would I be angry at her? It isn't her fault she got sick.
I heard you and Tia are fighting. I heard that you might not be together anymore.
Wait, how does she know this? I have to stop her there. Sure, it's easy for people to jump to conclusions and presume that we might be fighting, no thanks to Rochelle. But it's not common knowledge that things have actually gone sour to put her in terms that we might not be together anymore. Yeah, exactly. How does she know this?
Oh, well, where did you hear this from?
I heard it from a nice maid lady.
Probably the ghost.
It's still no excuse. Not when she's sick. She needs someone to hold her hand and bring her soup and make her drink medicine.
I'm livid that one of my employees might gossip, and to a child of all people. Who says such upsetting things to a child? But my anger dies when Kylie starts to tear up. She holds it back in an effort not to seem so childish, I assume. Though I am honestly confused as to why such news would upset her so.
Oh, no. Look, Kylie, there's no need to cry.
I'm not going to cry.
Are you sure? You've got no reason to cry. Even if Hannah and I won't be together anymore, you can still visit me and I can still visit you.
That's not the problem. Why don't you and Tia love each other anymore?
I still love her, Munchkin, and I'd like to think your Tia still does too.
Isn't that the truth? I love her. I'm just total shite at showing it. And a small part of me screams that I was not worthy to be her husband in the first place, no matter how hard I deny it. Perhaps in another time, another place, another me, I would have confessed that the whole world is nothing compared to her.
Why are you two fighting? You grown-ups are so stupid sometimes.
Why? Because I'm a prat, probably. Motioning her to come closer, I wrap my arms around her, rub her back, and attempt to comfort the child. Only when I feel her tears soak into my jacket that I realize that might be something else to her worries. I've heard that Sorez is not getting along well too with his wife as of late because of how busy he's with work. Really, I was wholly tempted to just brush her question off and say it's a grown-up thing. I could content myself in pretending that it isn't happening, but it seems like she needs to hear this. That just make it all more painful to try to explain this, because I have to explain it not only for Kylie, but also for myself.
Sometimes, people fall out of love. Or they think they've fallen out of love and need time apart. It's not necessarily a bad thing. They might be angry at each other, or they might feel sad. They need time for themselves, to think about each other. To know if there is still love. Maybe they'll be back together again. Or maybe it's better for both of them to move on, instead of staying together and hurting each other pretending they still love each other.
There's nothing final, but here we are, at a crossroads where the wrong step might end in heartbreak. Hannah thinks we need some time apart, but we aren't done just yet.
But yes, grown-ups can be rather stupid.
You're still gonna be my friend? No matter what, Teal?
Of course, my life would be less exciting without a little brat like you running around and making a mess of it. And you better stay my friend, even when I get all old and wrinkly.
Kylie's shoulders shake in laughter as I pull her away and give her a toothy
You're
grin.
already old! But don't worry. When you die, I'll burn you and put you in a jar so I can keep you forever! Just like they did with Abuelo!
I know kids say weird things, but that was really weird. My thoughts come to a grinding halt at her words, yet she goes on as if she hasn't said such an odd thing. Why, it almost seems like the tyke is looking forward to my funeral. As if there is no confused expression on my face, she pulls me back to her drawing, commenting on the state of my weird dog.
I think your puppy would look better in magenta.
Okay, I don't think I can spend any more time with Kylie considering how high-strung I feel, so it's a good thing that Suarez came for her as soon as I've called. Though it is earlier than agreed upon time, he voices no complaint. The bastard even looked like he's relieved as soon as they left. Or at least I interpreted it as such from where I've stood by one of the windows, not bothering to step out and greet the man. No doubt he still doesn't trust me around his spawn. Well, he has every right to be suspicious of me. I am a dangerous man after all. But to my chagrin, that leaves me with the rest of the day with nothing to do. Well, aside from picking up the mess Kylie left scattered about in the parlor, to my immersive relief, she remembered to take her doll home with her this time. But the same cannot be said of the crayons and the papers littered here and there. First things first, I snatch my own doodle off the table and rip it to shreds, leaving no hope that it will see the light of day. The rest of the drawings, all Kylie's, remain unharmed as I collect the lot. Though they have been stacked up neatly on the table before, they must have been blown about when I saw Kylie off. And there were plenty of them. From cats to cakes to colorful rainbows and gardens, the child managed to make a lot during her morning here. There is one more that I have to fish out of the fireplace when it landed. Expect me to see another one of Kylie's masterpieces, I am instead greeted with something a bit more concerning. Oh, what did I say? Takako is the girl, so yeah, it's her. Oh, wow, that's her name then. Okay. There's me, and there's Kylie, the two of us side by side and smiling with our stick figure selves standing in the nondescript field. That much I can be certain without looking at the labels below the doodle's feet. But the third figure stands next to me in the drawing, a woman with her face hidden behind a curtain of black. Takako, the writing under her supplies.
Takako says you're making a really funny face.
Oh, I don't like this. This is kind of creepy.
Who?
Takako, a friend I made.
Oh, I don't like that. The hairs on the back of my neck stand on end and I feel a chill go down my spine. Oh god! A breath. That isn't mine! Oh no! That has me turning around hoping to see someone, anyone, oh god, but nothing. And that's when I hear it. What? Laughter, sweet and merry laughter ring from the ballroom. Thinking about it has my cheeks burning and my blood running hot. It is as if I'm being mocked. As I stomp towards the door, I have to stop myself from shouting up a storm. I expect to see some help dallying about, idling from their duties. Perhaps they thought they can slack off from their duties without being the head butler around, with being preoccupied with Kylie. Well, they had another thing coming. But again, nothing. Nothing from what I can see with a cursory glance at the very least. I roam around looking for near impossible hiding places, and still I am alone. Yet I can still hear the laughter, the accursed laughter echoing about in the room, in my head.
Who's there? Show yourselves and show some respect to the master of the house!
No! Cold uneasiness settles in my stomach when no one answers. I stumble on my own 2 feet, feeling a wave of nausea come from nowhere. I was gonna faint. I had to put a hand against the wall to stay upright when the world shifts and pain explodes from behind my eyes. It takes every ounce of my self-control to not heave then and there. The only thing my pride allows me to do when I close my eyes is an attempt to alleviate some pain. Vague, unfamiliar images, dare I say memories are not mine, flash in my head, unbidden and unwelcome. Like a strong hammer strike up the head, threatening to crack my skull and to split in two. Whatever emotions they hold are muted. I'm nothing but a spectator. Still, its weight feels palpable. Though it doesn't take long for these sensations to get into my head, through my eyes and my ears, it creeps and buzzes in the spaces between. Oh, there it is again! Over and over, it hurts. The pain, however, is not overbearing or blinding. It is the littlest of cuts and bruises of flesh that, by a blunt force, it dribbles down my cheeks and my mouth. There's a pounding in my head. It is not blinding, but it makes it a small starker. Everything hurts.
My lady, he need not suffer. I beg of you, have mercy. You already have me to do as you please. He deserves none of this.
What is that? Why is this happening?
Silence, before I cut out that impertinent tongue of yours and feed it to the dogs. You will watch and you will learn what happens when I am displeased.
What have I done to deserve this? One after another they come at me, and under an unending flood of threats to sweep me away from when it feels like eternity. Each one, a show of both of joy and suffering for those who have called this mansion their home. Each new scene is like a hammer to the head, threatening to crack my skull and split it into two. I can feel every little emotion in the blurry images that present itself in my head. I feel a part of these, like I've lived through them, though I know it's not possible. All their anger burns through me, that much is evident, but the pain more so. And above it all are whispers, the voices calling, luring, until one image emerges in vivid contrast to the other. When there is a shout of joy, my eyes snap open, looking for the culprit. Oh god. That's when the whole room just changes. Why? What happened? Everything's the same, yet everything isn't. What the hell? There are people everywhere laughing and dancing. I should be concerned with them, but my mind finds it easy to dismiss them as they fade in and out from nothingness. Instead, I find my concentration drawn to the man and woman, though one can call them lord and lady going by their clothes. And oh, just see how happy the couple looks. Though the man's eyes are eerily blank, like he's not there at all, his face is familiar though. In fact, they both are, but I can't place why. Hey, it's me and Hannah! The two make for a pretty picture as they dance at the center of the ballroom. Even the phantom crowd attention stays on them. It reminds me so much of Hannah and I during the early days of our marriage. The honeymoon years, they call it. We were so happy too then. All the smiles and her sunshine. Even with the normal dreary weather, younger, we had less to worry about, or at least thought that way. I wish we could go on that way even with all the things I had to do. But life has a way of catching up. There was work to be done. Although we had stayed loving, perfect couple in public, I could not afford to look so weak, to appear tied down to someone else, to those who knew I really am. I had to harden my heart when I have business, but it hasn't been so easy just to switch that part of me on and off. I should be concerned about their intrusion too. Ask what in bloody hell are they doing in my house, throwing a party as if it's their own place. Ask myself how the fuck I didn't notice what was going on before, when the parlor and the foyer were both only doors away. There's a horrid feeling of envy. And though I had long accepted that I am a jealous person by nature, I had never felt such a strong feeling of envy as I have now. They were happy with each other, these people, but Hannah and I, envy turned into anger. Anger for something I could not have. But I have the feeling that yelling and screaming at them won't do much of anything anyway. None of the others have given me notice. I realize this might not be even real. It dawns on me that these two people are from the painting, the ones all over the mansion, which makes sense. I don't think I'm imaginative enough to make all this up on my own. This must be a dream, or a really horrible high. Just then, I can feel my eyes on me as I contemplate the absurdity of the situation, yet I find it difficulty to try to tear my eyes away from the two dancing. I manage, and I regret looking away. Why? Oh, hi! She's here! It's Takako, right? The woman from the garden stands beside me. I can hear her rattling breath, menacing and chilling. Everything in me screams to run, but something pins me to the spot where she just looks at me, watching and waiting. The clamor of their voice filled the ballroom. Although they say such welcoming words, I do not feel comforted by the madness I'm experiencing. Their joyous voices turn sinister and foreboding in my ears. The chorus of people that shouldn't exist threaten to overwhelm me, draw me even as I stand on dry land. The music still plays as the Phantom Quartet continues while I stand there, vulnerable and afraid. But the dance has already ended, and I'm afraid that I might just be tonight's entertainment. Attention is well and good until bollocks like this is going down. The phantom people watch me, thousands of eyes scrutinizing. Though they cheer for my return, cajole me to dance and join their merriment. There are eager hands all over pulling me in every direction, but they do not move me enough to remove me from the woman's gaze.
Can you not hear them as they welcome you home? Your kind, our kind. You're one of us, my love. We are bonded by the blood we share.
What the hell does that mean? If I thought the voices were overwhelming before, it is nothing compared to how they are now. Their voices are loud, speaking in unison and echoing every on in the spaces of my head. They welcome me back as if I've always belonged, as if I was meant to be here in the first place. They call me all these little titles and names that do not belong to me, and that man's face, the one with the empty eyes, flashes again before me. Once fleeting, like a new memory have buried itself in my mind. I have to struggle for air when I come back to myself after.
This isn't...
The welcome turns into a scream at my protest, pained and desperate pleas for my help, telling me that this isn't my duty to stay, telling me that I belong to them. Gentle touches turn near, threatening. The warning scratches that they are bearing of teeth by a predator before they truly maim someone. My mouth goes dry as I struggle to speak, some sense of the hallucinatory madness, but I don't get the chance as they drown out my voice.
Our Lord, my prince.
So, okay, again, do they just think Luke is the prince because he looks like the guy, or is it some kind of like, you know, reincarnation thing? I don't know. Her words, there's a compulsion to stay. Though my heart races in my chest, the fear I should be experiencing refuses to register in my head. Mind and body war with one another, nearly tearing me in two. Oh, you're finally returned to us! I don't know. The compulsion to walk into her arms is strong. Whisper in my head to tell me to go to her. They say she is safety, she is home and heart. We have been waiting for so long. But repulsed by these thoughts, I rush away and turn with a small gap. Without hesitation, I start to make a run for it. I nearly falter when an angry shriek pierces the air. Inhumane and monstrous. I don't dare look back, I just run. I didn't care if this is a drug-induced hallucination or not. Just run! Okay guys, I'm gonna end this episode of The Letter right here. So, still confused about who this girl really is and like what exactly her connection to Luke is in terms of, aside that she was in love with Lady Charlotte's fiance, the reason why she keeps saying, you have come home to us, it's you, my lord, you're my prince, and all this stuff like that. I still don't understand, like, if it's, like, reincarnation, if it's, like, a spell she did before she died or something like that, because she was considered a witch, but I don't know how much of that is true or not. It's just, this whole thing seems very weird. I don't know. I really don't know. Anyway, you guys let me know in the comments what you think. Any theories you have as to, like, what the hell is going on would be great. But if you guys like this video, remember to leave a like, let me know in the comments what you think, and be sure to subscribe and hit the bell button so you know when I upload the next episode of The Letter. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye! Oh, she crashes into someone! Oh my god, this is gonna be freaking cute, isn't it? Oh, she's so- I freaking love her artwork, can I just say right now? Forward, or develop another character. Video game deaths can be tragic. Here are 6 sad character deaths from video games. Roman, Grand Theft Auto 4.